Today we're unboxing the MetaQuest 3S, and this is Meta's more budget-oriented VR headset, and this is a sponsored video today. And it's also my first foray into VR headsets ever, so very excited to try this out. And first of all, it comes in a very premium box for sure. They've definitely put a lot of R&D in here, and you don't need any knives or anything to get into this, just two peel-aways on the side, and then that lets you open this up and get into the box. So yeah, lovely packaging as you would probably expect from a company the size of Meta, and they have definitely tried to make it as premium feeling as possible, but of course also fully recyclable packaging as well. And this fully opens up to reveal our headset, and honestly there's not actually much to it. There's a VR headset, a spacer for glasses, a charger and a cable, and then also two controllers, and that is it. And it's pretty simple. I was also very interested to see how the wireless connection would go when playing VR games on the PC, because of course when I've seen people do VR in the past, it's always been via a wired connection. And of course this is also a standalone device as well. It's effectively a computer on your face, so you can actually just play games with just it connected to nothing at all. And it runs on a custom version of Android made by Meta, and it really is just like using a phone. You've also got a store in there where you can go buy more games, and you get currently Batman Arkham Shadow free with the headset. And overall, seems to run pretty damn good. The great thing about this as well is the hardware is the same as the higher end Meta, but on a lower resolution. So this seems to run it very, very well and very smooth. So this baby here has some front-facing cameras and sensors. It's got a charging port on the left-hand side. Of course, it's got your lenses inside with a strap that initially I found quite annoying to use, but I've got better at it as I've used it. And I don't know if there will be like a perfect headset basically when it comes to straps and all that, but it works pretty good. You've got two controllers which run on AA batteries, and so far they're like 100%, and I've been using it for like a long time now, and the battery charge is not going down, so they're quite power efficient, which is great. And they've got a few buttons on there, and of course a couple of triggers as well. I actually had them the wrong way around initially. I was thinking, wait a minute, is that the right way around? And then yeah, go that way around. And they seem to work really, really well. And the whole system as well is great at detecting where your controllers are in space. So that's all being controlled, of course, by the headset itself. So no need for any additional stuff around your room to detect things. It's all being done. I remember when you used to had to like set up the lighthouses or whatever the heck they were called back in the day for the earlier versions of VR, which of course I've never tried, but I've seen people use. And this does it all by itself. So it's cool. And certainly for me, it shows how VR has gone a long way from where it used to be. Now, this headset that Meta sent over to me is the MetaQuest 3S, and it's a 256GB version of it. But you can go down one to 128GB, and you can also go up, which will go to the MetaQuest 3, and of course above that there's way more expensive options. But if I was to buy this one in the UK, it would cost me 380 quid, and in the US it's $400. And you'll find an affiliate link in the description below if you decide to buy any of these headsets. Now let's talk specs, because this is the much more budget-oriented version of Meta's headset. It means you get less resolution and less field of view. So compared to the MetaQuest 3, which is slightly more expensive, you get much less resolution. You get 1832 by 1920 when it comes to pixel per eyes, compared to the MetaQuest 3, which gives you 2064 by 2208. So a lot less resolution, but that also means if you're going to be streaming it from your computer doesn't have to be as high end to push all those pixels out. And so far the pixel density on this has not been an issue, but that's coming from a point of view of a VR noob, so unless I actually play something better, it's kind of hard for me to compare. However, something I have noticed, and even as a VR noob, is the field of view, which is 96 degrees on the 3S, whereas on the MetaQuest 3, it's 110 degrees. And I think I would notice the upgrade immediately if I was to jump into the MetaQuest 3, because when I'm playing, I can very easily see circles around where I'm looking at, so I know that obviously I'm in this VR world rather than obviously real life. And at points, that limited field of view really does bring me out of the VR experience at times. But let's talk about that experience. So I've been using this now for a couple of weeks, and it has been exceptional. It's been really good to play with. It definitely has limitations. It is definitely the more budget option, and even as a VR noob, I'm definitely noticing that. However, it's awesome. The best experience I've had has been Half-Life Alyx, and out of all the VR stuff I've played with so far, that game is exceptional and the experience of it is incredible. I also went in with a few assumptions. I thought that for the most part I'd just be sitting down playing VR like I'm in a cockpit and like Flight Simulator or stuff like that, but Half-Life Alyx did have me walking around, and I've got a quite limited space to work with, but I was able to use that effectively in the headset, so that was cool. And you can of course make up your own bounds so you don't walk into stuff. It comes up with these kind of lines that, like, you know, you're getting close to the edge and stuff like that, which seem to work very, very well. And then getting like the comfort right and stuff like that is a pain in the ass, but once you get it half decent, you definitely disappear into the VR experience without that being an issue. But there is certainly a learning curve just to figuring out how to wear the headset correctly and then how to actually play the games, because it seems like every single one of them has different interactable controls for the different experiences you're playing, which is a pain in the ass. And then honestly, I'm quite amazed how well it works over Wi-Fi. That is the biggest thing. It is really, really good, as if I wouldn't even know there was any kind of delay or anything like that from using a wireless connection over a wired connection. And I'm a guy who loves wired connections, so I was impressed with that. And then the battery time on this thing is very short. It's a couple hours, but you buzz through that really fast if you're in a cool experience. So the battery experience is not brilliant. And I don't know, maybe I'll end up just like carrying a battery bank and plugging it into the USB and just chuck it in my pocket or something like that to extend the battery life in the future. But yeah, the battery life is definitely a limiting factor. Of course, you don't really want to add a bigger battery in because it'll just make the headset even heavier, which you don't really want. And then this whole controller is white. I don't know if I like this. I do wonder how grimy this thing's going to get on your head in the long term and how effectively you can clean it. So that's a bit of a worry. Honestly, if it was all black, it would be good. I think like every single company, as they get bigger and bigger and their products get more premium, they all end up just going white. They go the Apple route. So it very much seems like Meta, which acquired Oculus back in the day, which did black headsets, and now they're slowly changing over to doing full white headsets. But yeah, guys, this has definitely been a heck of an experience. And of course, this is not a review. I'm not going to endorse this. This is a sponsored video, so reviews would be pointless at this point. But certainly for me, it's been a heck of a fun experience to play around with this thing. And definitely I'll be diving into more VR experiences in the future and seeing what the heck I can do with it. So it's a lot of fun. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below, and also give me your VR recommendations and any kind of tips and tricks, because getting like the perfect focus and the eyes and everything set up perfectly is a pain in the ass. I'd love to know if there's any best kind of practices, but so far I am having a blast with this. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.